Hello, hi, this is Mr. Gagnon again. We're going to talk a little bit today with a short video about something called dimensional analysis. And it sounds difficult, but it's really not. All we're doing here is we're just manipulating variables and units. So as you know, there are different ways to express lengths, different ways to express mass, weight, um, capacities, and so on and so forth. And we choose the best one for the application. So if I were to go fill up my gas tank in America, we use gallons. We wouldn't say, ounces for that. We would choose gallons. But around the world, we would choose something else, and that would be liters. So just to give you an idea, that we're going to be using mainly metric units for our conversions. And again, this may be a review for some of you guys because you did learn some of this in chemistry last year. But let's do a couple of simple ones. Okay, so let's do a conversion using what we call the H method, dimensional analysis. Okay, let's say I wanted to find out how many inches were in a mile. Okay, in 1 mile. So if I go ahead and I put 1 mile, okay, I'm going to make sure we use the unit there and keep that there. That's very important. We're going to find out how many inches are in the mile. Okay, what I would do is set it up where I have a system, and this is called my ladder or H method. Some people call it H because it looks like a bunch of H's. And I want to get to, I guess we said inches. So let's follow the process. So if I think to myself, well, what's smaller than a mile? Well, definitely an inch, but I don't know a direct conversion from mile to inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to either use my memory, which I keep a lot of those in my memory, or I'm going to work over to the sheet here that I have provided for you guys. And I can get to there a number of different ways. So if I go from mile to feet, again, don't put any numbers in yet. And then from feet to inches, okay, that's my unit progression. Now we say that the mile has to be down in the bottom, so it does cancel out. So what I will do is I'll put the mile unit down here. And again, don't concentrate on any of the numbers yet. We don't need them yet. The foot unit is going to end up down here. And in essence, we're just going to multiply 1 mile by 1, really. So I'll show you what I mean. The equivalent of 1 mile is 5,280 feet. And again, we're not doing any math yet. We're just plugging in things into our table here. In 1 foot, we have 12 inches. Okay, and so if I look at just the units, the mile unit, if I consider this to be a division sign, the mile unit cancels, the foot unit cancels, and I'm left with the unit of inches, and that's what I wanted to be in for the final answer. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the top, and then I'm also going to multiply the bottom, and then set it up as a fraction. Okay, so let's see what we come up with. So what I come up with is 63,360 inches over 1, which is just this. Okay, so that's an easy one, just a top level conversion, and we can come up with the number of inches in a mile, no problem. Okay, now you might say, well, this could be simple enough just to do it, and yes, it can be. But now when you get into double units like miles per hour The hour is going to go down here. It gets tougher. So let's do one of those. Okay, let's do one of those. So let's just say that we had a situation where we had to convert, let's say, miles per hour to meters per second. So let's say I'm traveling along at 60 miles per hour, and we want to get it over to meters per second. Okay, you're looking at that and you're saying, well, it's a little more difficult. And yes, it is, but if you use the H method, it does work. Okay, so let's start with 60 miles. And then if we take this as a division, it's per 1 hour. Okay, and again, we're going to use that same ladder method, the H method. Let's tackle the first part first. Let's tackle the distance part. Okay, we want to get miles to meters. Again, we're not even worried about numbers yet. Now, is that where we want to be? The answer is yes. We want to be in meters. But now, if I put miles down here and I slid miles down here, the miles does cancel out and we're left with meters per hour, but we want to be meters per second. So knowing that I finished the top, I'm going to put a double line here to show that I'm done with the top, and now that I've got to focus on the bottom. So if I bring my hours down here and I want to go right to seconds, let's say, then the hour from the bottom has to come up top, okay, because I've got to cancel that out eventually. So let's now look at what we've got to do here. 60 miles per hour. Let's figure out how many miles are in a meter or how many meters are in a mile. I know that 1 mile is 1,609 meters. That's just a conversion factor. I don't have to do any math yet. I know that 1 hour contains 3,600 seconds. So again, this divided by this is equal to 1. This divided by this is equal to 1. So all we're doing in essence is multiplying everything by 1. Now let's look at the units. Miles is gone. You divide those out. Meters stays. Hours is gone. And what I'm left with is a unit of meters per second, and that's what I want to be in. So in this case, we're multiplying the top and dividing the bottom. So let's do that. So in this case, I've got 60 times 1609. So on the top, I've got 96540 meters. And in the bottom, I've got 1 times 1 times 3,600. Okay, so that's what I've got there. So if I divide the two out, I got 3,600. And my answer is 26.8 meters per second. Okay, so there's my answer, 26.8 meters per second. And that was just using this method, and I didn't have to think, really. You don't have to really think about it. We just had to know how to use the method and how to convert the top and then finally the bottom. And I always put this little line here to show, all right, now I'm working on the bottom. Now, could you have gone through and done this and went to minutes first and then seconds? Yes, absolutely. Okay, there's no one set way to do this. All right, so I hope that helps you solve some of your problems, and I will see you next time. Thank you.